Freemasonry is filled with symbols, emblems, and metaphors, each having two sets of explanation, a regular one and an esoteric one. It is important to note that the esoteric explanation does not nullify the general explanation, but instead complements it by expanding its scope. This is done so to protect the knowledge from those who may misunderstand or misuse it. The best analogy I can give you to help you understand this is that in any big company, without proper understanding and context, the initiatives discussed at the leadership level may be controversial to a common employee. Number 1. Masonic logo. The Masonic logo consists of square and compasses with the letter G in the middle. The general explanation is that in Freemasonry, the square symbolizes morality and is a symbol of righteousness. It keeps us in touch with God and helps us to square our actions. The compasses symbolizes spirituality, to circumscribe our desires and keep our passions within due bound with all mankind. This means to strive to be a better person and ensure those around us are not harmed by our actions. The esoteric meaning of the square and compasses is that they belong to the hermetic symbols of creative deity. The compass is the male phallus and the square is the female vulva. Not only does it reflect the balance of nature, but it also produces new life, which is the greater mystery. We all know the mechanical process by which a new life is conceived, but the mysteries deal with the spiritual processes are hidden. So essentially, the esotericism is saying that the square and compasses deal with male and female regenerative actions. Number 2, letter G. The letter G is posted above the worshipful master in the east in every lodge and also found in the center within the square and compasses. The general explanation is that the letter G reminds us that our every act is done in the sight of great architect of the universe. It signifies the name of God before whom all living beings humbly bow. It also refers to geometry, which is mathematical science upon which architecture and masonry were founded. The esoteric explanation for the letter G is that it stands for gnosis and generativity, the two sacred words for ancient Kabbalah. Gnosis is a feminine Greek noun which means knowledge. It puts high emphasis on personal knowledge and understanding. Gnosis can conflict with traditional monolithic religions because Gnostics do not look for salvation from sin, original or the other, but rather from the ignorance of which sin is consequence, meaning they strive to get illuminated and gain as much knowledge as possible. The final step of Gnosis is to turn man into God or angel-like with knowledge of creation, cosmos, and reality. This is similar to Buddha achieving enlightenment or opening the third eye. Generativity, on the other hand, is the belief that all humans are gods and have power to regenerate. This in turn puts emphasis on reproductive organs, which goes hand in hand with the square and compasses being the male and female organs. Number 3, altar lights. There are always 3 burning candles or lights at the altar in an open Masonic lodge, also known as the 3 lesser lights or the 3 burning tapers. The general explanation for the altar lights is that the 3 lights are placed in form of a pyramid and symbolize the sun, moon, and the worshipful master. As the sun produces light and energy during the day, and the way moon governs the night, so as the worshipful master to rule and govern the lodge. The esoteric meaning of the 3 lights at the altar is that they form a triangle of sun, moon, and Mercury. This is because the Masonic lodge is said to imitate the cosmos. The sun is symbolic of divine unity, the giver of light, and is the worshipful master. The moon is symbolic of intuition, a necessary component in the spiritual path, and is the junior warden. The Mercury is a symbol of wisdom. It is closest to the sun and has the consciousness that must be harmonized in order for one to progress to unity with the sun, and is the senior warden. Number 4, pillars. In every lodge you will see 2 pillars. One on the right is called Jachin, while the other one on the left is known as Boaz. The general explanation is that these 2 pillars were erected on either side of entrance of the King Solomon's temple, which was built as commanded by God. Jachin, the right-hand pillar, means he will establish. Boaz, the left-hand pillar, means strength. Together, they allude to the promise of God to David that he will establish his kingdom. The esoteric meaning of these pillars is that in occultism, magic, Kabbalah, witchcraft, or anything spiritual, a symbolic gate is needed for spells that invoke another dimension. Similarly, Boaz and Jachin are the names of two symbolical pillars before the principal entrance of King Solomon's Kabbalistic temple. In the Kabbalah, these pillars are entrance to another dimension. So when you're passed through these pillars, you are symbolically entering into another dimension. Number 5, globes on the pillars. On top of each pillars we just discussed is a large bowl called globes. The general explanation is that these bowls contain fire and water. The celestial globe, originally the bowl of fire, surmounting the right-hand column, symbolized the divine man. The terrestrial globe, the bowl of water, surmounting the left-hand column, Boaz, signifies the earthly man. These two pillars respectively connote the active and passive expressions of divine energy, the sun and the moon, sulfur and salt, good and bad, light and darkness. As a result, they teach us how to deal with difficult problems in our life. The esoteric explanation of these globes is that in mythology, Hercules reached the limits of Mediterranean and raised two great columns upon which he inscribed non plus ultra, as this was supposed to be the border of the known world. Like Hercules' pillars, the globes sit atop of two pillars forming a gate. Since the globe represents earth and heavens, they symbolize that the entrance of the pillars are to a dimension which is not of this earth nor found in heavens. In King Solomon's temple, these globes were on the pillars at the entrance leading to a sanctum sanctorum, which contained the Holy Grail. Number 6, the eye. This is also known as the eye of providence or all-seeing eye. The general explanation is that the eye is inside a triangle and surrounded by rays of light, with triangle representing the grand architect of the universe and God's omnipresence and all-seeing eye watching over creation. The esoteric explanation of the eye is that in ancient Egypt, the all-seeing eye was known as the eye of Horus or the eye of Ra. Through various myths, they were symbols of protection, healing, and restoration. The left eye of Horus was said to be the moon and his right eye the sun. The eye of Horus very much matches the cross-section of the midbrain, where the thalamus, the pineal, and pituitary glands are situated. The pineal gland is often said to be the third eye and the center of spirituality and spiritual insight, which can be developed in a person. The goal of esoteric masonry is to open that third eye in the new initiate. Number 7, pyramid. Although not located in every Masonic lodge, the pyramid symbol does appear time to time in masonry. The general explanation is that the pyramid is a nod to Egyptian masonry work and how each of its sections fit together with such perfection as if God had built it himself. The esoteric explanation is that the pyramid symbolizes the work powerful masons are doing and emphasizes the importance of regular masons. I will make a separate video highlighting the benefits of regular masons to masonry. The pyramid is only complete when all building blocks are in place. However, to complete the pyramid, the work should follow a certain sensible sequence of events. The large stones can only be placed at the bottom. The foundation must be built before the top. And once the pyramid is built, it becomes extremely stable, and even during its building, no earthquake can destroy it. Number 8, double-headed eagle. The double-headed eagle is mostly recognized with Scottish Rite Masonry. The general explanation of double-headed eagle rite is that of duality. It reminds us that as a man, we're composed of both body and spirit, that we are both temporary and eternal, that both good and evil exist in the world, and that we must perpetually espouse good while opposing evil. It also reminds us that knowledge comes from both study and insight, and that our obligations are both to ourselves and the others, that both faith and reason are necessary at the same time. Number 9, Eastern Star. The emblem of the Order of Eastern Star is a 5-pointed inverted star. The general explanation is that the 5 points of the star refers to the stories which are inspired by biblical heroines in the Bible. Each biblical figure is represented by a color on each of the star's 5 points. The esoteric explanation of Eastern Star is that Eastern Star is actually the star in the east. It refers to the star Sirius, which is a significant star in Egyptian mythology. It is sacred to God, Set. Set was the Egyptian god who killed Osiris. The Eastern Star is the star of Set. Number 10. Perfect ashlar and rough ashlar. In some lodges, you may see a rough and perfect stones. These are known as rough and perfect ashlars. The general explanation is that in speculative Freemasonry, a rough ashlar is an allegory to uninitiated Freemason prior to his discovering enlightenment. And as he goes through the degrees and fine knowledge, he is transformed into a new man and hence turning into a perfect ashlar. The esoteric explanation of the perfect and rough ashlar is that the tools that Masonry gives us as Masons enables us to achieve perfection, and thus we are able to perfectly fit in our world here on earth and also in the heaven above.